Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 11.
A teenage murder victim remembered as police still search for his killer. Why neighbors want an end to the violence.
We're learning more information about a father accused of bringing his son with him to a drug deal in Lexington that went wrong. And if you like apple cider, you're also going to like the forecast. We'll tell you why coming up. WKYT News at 11 starts now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sean Moody. Kristen Kennedy has the weekend off. Friends and family held a vigil tonight to remember a murdered Lexington teen. Police say 19-year-old Jeffrey Adams was shot and killed Friday morning at an apartment complex on McCullough Drive, and police say the shooter is still on the run. WKYT's Garrett Weimer was at the vigil tonight as the search for Adams' killer continues. That's our top story at 11.
They marched with a message. Stop, stop, stop. They carried signs searching for answers. And they called for an end to the violence that just took their Jeffrey.
We think about when he was a baby growing up, wrestling us and stuff, but that's all I can say. He's going to be missed.
Sadly, these family members are no stranger to that violence. They say Adams' cousin was Antonio Franklin, the 21-year-old shot and killed at Duncan Park in April.
It's just the violence is crazy and it just needs to stop. It's nonsense.
Here on Windburn, it's an area that has seen its share of violence and crime. 3 people were shot in the area on Friday, but it's the death of 19-year-old Jeffrey Adams that has neighbors here fed up with the violence.
Our teens are going too fast. I mean, everybody's life is not guaranteed, but don't take it. It's not ours to give. You know, it's not ours to take.
So they march with a message for others and for their lost loved ones.
I tell him, Pimp, hold on, we got you down here. And we love you.
This family, now twice touched by tragedy, tired of the violence and its cost. In Lexington, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
And police tell us no arrests have been made in Adams' murder. If you have any information that could help, Lexington police ask that you give them a call. We're tracking a developing story out of Madison County tonight. Berea police tell us a woman there fell 40 feet while hiking. We're told the woman fell somewhere in the Pinnacles area near the Indian Fort Theater. Officers say when emergency crews got to the woman, she was alert, but she may have broken her ankle. At last check, crews were still working to get her out of the hiking trail. We're also tracking a crash in Montgomery County tonight. Kentucky Vehicle Enforcement and state police are on the scene. We're told a tractor trailer and a car collided on US 60 near Mount Sterling. One person was flown to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A father accused of bringing his son with him to a drug deal gone bad in Lexington is out of jail tonight on bond. According to an arrest citation, police say 30-year-old William Hanks took a prescription drug, then made crack deals while his 5-year-old son sat in the vehicle with him. Investigators say that's when 3 other people choked and robbed Hanks and threw him out of the vehicle. Police say those 3 people then left the boy near downtown Lexington, where he was found by officers. Neighbors who don't want to be identified say they hope something good comes from the case.
I hope the guy does some real serious soul searching. And, you know, somebody can kind of make it clear to him what could have happened to his little boy because of his behavior.
Now, earlier this evening, a man claiming to be Hanks called our newsroom telling us he was planning on taking his son to a bonfire and that there were no drugs involved. He said if he knew he was going to be attacked, he wouldn't have brought him. Police have not filed any drug charges against him, but they have charged Hanks with wanton endangerment. He's scheduled to be arraigned in court tomorrow. Police are still searching for the 3 people who dropped the boy off on the street. A man is in the hospital and his girlfriend is facing charges after deputies say he jumped from a moving vehicle last night. It happened in Boyle County on US 150 near Perryville. The sheriff's office says 42-year-old Richard Arthur Blocker Jr. jumped out of the car that his girlfriend was driving. His girlfriend, Nancy Jane Shook, was arrested and charged with DUI. Blocker was airlifted to UK Hospital. A Laurel County man is facing a slew of charges after deputies say they found what could be a meth lab in a home this morning. At the home on Hensley Road, officers say they found a black cooler underneath a baby crib containing suspected methamphetamine, 2 baggies of marijuana, Suboxone strips, and drug paraphernalia. Deputies said there were also 2 children living in the home. They arrested 39-year-old Richard Ehlers. Ehlers faces multiple drug-related charges and charges of wanton endangerment and theft. Turning to the weather now, we rebounded today from a pretty soggy Saturday and saw some perfect weather, but we're in store for more rain tomorrow. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell is tracking the latest on First Alert Defender.
You're absolutely right. A few showers could come drifting into the area tomorrow, and then a few more during the afternoon and into the evening hours. But tonight, it's quiet and it's going to get a little on the chilly side as we progress through the overnight into the early morning hours. There you see, Defender, that's Kentucky's most powerful live Doppler, by the way, and we are not tracking any showers at the moment. Cloud cover? Yeah, there's some starting to stream in. We see that from the satellite, and it's starting to really increase throughout the entire area, and that will be the trend during the day tomorrow as well. We'll see more clouds around, which will keep our temperatures down or steady during the overnight and into the day. Tomorrow, though, we're going to try to climb all the way up into the upper 50s and low 60s. Tonight, though, we're sitting in the mid 40s out there and even low 50s, at least out at the airport. There's a big difference between 44 in Frankfurt, 50 in Lexington, and 45 in Richmond. Big gap there in between all of that. But anyway, 41 already in Mount Sterling. Talking about some chilly conditions. As we get you out the door tomorrow morning, clouds increase. Bit of a chilly start. I think generally we'll be around 46 degrees by noontime. How about a 53-degree reading? And then we really start to track those shower chances as you start to head home. Around 59 degrees, probably in the low 60s for some of you. And then a bigger chill arrives. I'll have more for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Well, speaking of chills, that string of cooler than normal days in Kentucky over the past few weeks is actually perfect weather for apple growers, especially for making apple cider. To apple growers, cool weather means better tasting apples and therefore better tasting apple cider. Cooler temperatures into and throughout the fall season is just what the doctor ordered for balancing out that cider flavor.
As you get up in the middle of September and all the way through October, your flavoring is more intense. And to me, it makes a little bit better cider.
With even cooler temperatures on the way, we're told the flavor of that cider will just keep becoming even more intense. Well, recent rain has made it difficult for local farms to stay open to the public during the fall season. The Hillview Stables Farm in London opens for 6 weekends every fall. They already had to close one Saturday because the rain just made it unsafe for people to walk freely around the farm. The owner of Hillview Stables says it's the weather that controls their fall season.
The weather, plays a part. Weather can, make you have a good season or it can make you have a bad season, and it's been a mixture of both this year.
Now, however, the rain didn't keep crowds from coming back to the Gregory's farm. They had more than 1,000 visitors on Saturday. The square in Lexington got a bit of a makeover this morning. Crews put up a sign on top of the buildings for the square, which of course used to be Victorian Square. Several new restaurants and stores will be opening in the coming months. 2 stores have already opened, Urban Outfitters and Alumni Hall, but the official grand opening for Urban Outfitters will be on Thursday. Alumni Hall had its grand opening last week. Also in Lexington, Fayette Mall construction is still underway. Officials at the mall say a new Michael Kors store opened up this weekend. New shops and restaurants like Nuke's Eatery and H&M are set to open up on November 7th. The new middle wing is being built in the old Sears space. The Cheesecake Factory is set to open even sooner at the end of October. A mall spokesperson tells us parking has also been improved. Law enforcement in Virginia are suspending their search for a missing UVA student who disappeared 5 weeks ago. They say Hannah Graham's missing person investigation is now a death investigation. Hank Silverberg has the latest on the case.
Investigators spent the day combing Walnut Creek Park in a heavily wooded section covered by fall leaves, digging for more evidence in the area where the remains were discovered yesterday, 35 days after Hannah Graham disappeared. It could take several days for the forensic experts to determine if the remains, mostly bones, are Graham. The park is in an area familiar to the man charged with Graham's abduction, Jesse Matthew, who lived nearby and went to an elementary school just a few miles from here. The remains were found by Chesterfield County searchers who were here as volunteers on property that was unoccupied. Sergeant Dale Terry describes the remains as a skeleton that had not been buried.
It's kind of scary. You don't know There's not a lot of traffic out here.
Lori Hamilton lives nearby.
My husband started smelling things 2 days ago and saw vultures.
This site is also within 5 miles from where another murdered student, Morgan Harrington, was found dead 4 years ago in a case that police say has been linked to Matthew. Graham's family has been told about the discovery of the remains, but they are waiting for more conclusive results. Matthew remains in jail with a court date set for December. Right now, he is charged only with Graham's abduction. In Albemarle County, Hank Silverberg.
An autopsy will be scheduled to determine if the remains are, in fact, those of Hannah Graham. Several friends, family, and others who had contact with Thomas Eric Duncan after he first became infectious with Ebola will be ending their 3-week confinement at midnight. A Dallas County judge, Clay Jenkins, said that people who haven't shown Ebola symptoms as of yet will be taken off the possible contaminated Ebola list. He also says people have been anxiously awaiting this time to come and says that the midnight deadline is an important landmark in the fight against Ebola.
Tomorrow will be the 12th day from that day. And as we'll show tomorrow, hopefully when there's good news, that is an important day in the fight against Ebola. We also hope that tomorrow we'll have the good news.
Jenkins says as it stands now, 48 people will be taken off that list, and medical experts continue to monitor the Ebola situation in the United States. Kentucky's local governments are reviving a pair of proposals that have been bogged down at the state and federal level. The Louisville Metro Council Democratic majority is trying to increase the county's minimum wage to $10.10 per hour. In more conservative areas, Republicans have pushed back by trying to pass local laws that would weaken unions. The issues are playing heavily in this year's elections. Democratic U.S. Senate candidate Allison Lundergan Grimes has campaigned to raise the minimum wage, and Republican Senator Mitch McConnell says he opposes the increase because he says it would cost jobs. In case you missed it, there was a party along the waterfront in Louisville this weekend. It was all for the 100th birthday of the Belle of Louisville. To honor Louisville's historic steamboat, fireworks sent colors flying over the Ohio River as the Belle and her passengers watched while floating down the river. The cruise lasted for 3 hours. In that time, people enjoyed food, drinks, and danced the night away.
I don't know if everybody understands just how amazing it is that a boat like this has been in service more miles than any boat in the United States, maybe the whole globe, and it's right here in Louisville.
After those celebrations, the Belle of Louisville, the Belle of Cincinnati, and American Queen faced off in a race in Ohio this afternoon. With October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, WKYT is once again teaming up with St. Elizabeth Healthcare to provide breast screenings. The mobile mammography van will be at WKYT on Tuesday from 9:30 in the morning till 6:30 in the evening. To make an appointment, call 859-655-7400. Private insurance will be billed, and if you're uninsured, you can get financial help thanks to a generous grant from Susan G. Komen, Lexington.